This is Sig P365 380. First range report. Let's hit the range. It was a beautiful day at Banner Shooting Range, where this video was shot today. You'll need to contend with some background noise as a result. Just about every lane was full, I think. The Sig P365 380 is a micro-compact striker-fired pistol chambered in 380 ACP. It is 5.8 inches long, 4.2 inches high, 1 inch wide, and weighs in at 15.7 ounces. It has a 3.1 inch carbon steel barrel. The slide is a stainless steel slide that has the nitron finish. The slide release, takedown lever, and magazine release are on the left side of the frame. They are a low profile style, though not nearly as low profile as, say, the SAS that has none. The trigger is the standard curved trigger, which off my gauge came in at 4 pounds 6 ounces. Now, before we talk about the sights and the optics ready nature of the pistol, how about a little more range time? When I found the 9mm and 380 magazines fit in both firearms, the natural next test was to see if the 380 ammo would work out of the 9mm magazine. Let's find out. I cut out the part where we tried to fit a 9mm into the 380. That didn't work, which is good for safety. Now here we try to do a 380 out of the 9mm pistol, because I've actually accidentally done that by virtue of the bullet bucket a few times. Let's see how that works. As you can see, it doesn't work. Now I try a second time just to confirm. There wasn't even any mark on the primer. I think the 9mm version, with how it functions, it doesn't hold the 380 round in a place where at least this ammo, where it could set off the primer. Now, of course, that doesn't mean it couldn't set off any 380 ammo, and you wouldn't want to do that anyway out of 9mm. Don't forget to like and subscribe so Freddy gets his biscuits. The sights included with the firearm are the Sig-Lite night sights. This is a 3-dot sight system that have tritium in the center of them so that they are, glowing at night. Now that is a radioactive element. Half-life typically lasts about 6 years, so eventually you'll need to replace them. Keep that in mind. That would be standard with any tritium night sight. Radioactive elements, they decay. Now the real selling point of this firearm is also that it is optics ready. Now in this case, optics ready doesn't mean it doesn't include sights like some guns. It actually means it's milled from the factory for a sight. Now in this case, the firearm is optics cut ready for a Romeo Zero floor plate style micro red dot. Now other than the SCCY micro 380 that has a micro red dot option, I'm unaware of another 380 in this size that comes factory ready for a red dot. So if there is another one, let me know. I'd be love to hear about it. In addition to the sights and the optics ready nature of the firearm, it also features some functional slide serrations, both forward and aft on the slide that I think help articulate the slide very well. Firearm also features the Sig rail, which you can attach a light, a laser, or another attachment to. Now it's even cooler, I think, that you can use some interchangeable parts with the 9mm version, which we're going to come back to after a little more range time. The next two video clips you're going to see are tests of two common carry ammos of this caliber that we did to confirm it works in this firearm. Now another really nice feature of this firearm is the grip module and the fire control system are the same ones as used in the 9mm version of the 365. So what that means is you can do things like use the XL grip frame off your XL module and put it on your 380 ACP version. I'm definitely going to be trying that out here in the future. Now you might be wondering, what differences are there between the 380 and the 9mm version? Well, they're subtle, but there are some. For example, I can't put the barrel from my 380 version into the slide of a 9mm version and vice versa. There's a slight design difference you'll notice at the top. I suspect that's intentional to keep you from interchanging the 380 and 9mm barrels in these firearms. But again, I just suspect that. I have nothing to back that up. And while you can do things like put the 9mm magazine in the 380 version and vice versa, thankfully the 380 version you cannot chamber a 9mm round. I don't think the firearm could even go into battery to where you could fire it, but I'm not going to demolition ranch, hammer it closed and find out. I'm going to leave that to Matt. The marketing material mentions that the slide on the 380 version has been lightened and that it should be easier to manipulate and have less recoil. And as you can see, there are some areas where some material has been removed to lighten that. I think it's 2 ounces lighter. Later this week we're going to post a more in-depth comparison of the 365 380 versus the 365 and 9mm. Though for this video what I will say is there is no doubt in my experience after even one range trip that the 380 version of this firearm has significantly less recoil than the 9mm version. Now, easier to manipulate, yes, I do think the slide is a little easier to manipulate, though it is not to the level of something like a Smith & Wesson EZ 380 or a Ruger LCP 2 and 22 long rifle. It's a long way from that level of easy to manipulate, but it still is easier to manipulate than the 9mm version. Now, another mentionable is this is probably one of the best 10-yard first box targets I've done through any pistol. I mean, look at that. Usually it looks like a shotgun pattern where you're trying to figure out. That thing chewed up holes. It was devastating on the target. Now later this week we're going to post a comparison against the 9mm version of the 365 and also a comparison against the 2021 measuring stick LCP Max 380. We'll see if this 2022 380, the P365 380, if it's better, worse, or how it stacks up. So far, I'd say I'm very encouraged by the results. I mean, incredible groups. I don't know if I've ever shot ones that good with the LCP Max, but as they say, we'll see how it turns out. Now, right off the bat, I would say it put the Glock G42 on notice and put some shots very close right across the bow at a very similar, if not the same price point, with a 4-round advantage, with things like factory night sights and factory milled 4 optics ready, as well as things like the interchangeable grip frame and trigger fire control group with the 9mm version. This 365 380 has a plethora of features that make it one of, if not maybe, the best pocketable 380 on the market today. Now, I don't know if it is that good after the first range report, but potentially it could be. So we shall see in the coming weeks and months, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how it shakes out in that regard. I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a good day.